Hi guys, I'm so excited. It's a very special day. I am Jennifer Dawn Gabiola, and I'm the founder of dawningsoul.com. And today marks a really very special day in the evolution of my brand. And this was inspired by this lovely woman I'm going to be interviewing today, Jen Turrell. So we're going to go into detail about her and her story, but I wanted to just share how this project came to be over 8 years ago. For those of you that don't know who I am, I was a really successful design director, and I seemingly had everything all together, but deep down I felt empty, and I ended up losing my career, and I ended up getting sick. I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, and so that was really a turning point in my life when I was forced to look at my value on the inside, because so much of my value was based on my career and my self-image. So that was really a major turning point in my life. And during that time, I got a divinely guided idea to put my poetry on clothes. I love doing branding and design, but at the heart, I'm an artist and a poet. So when I got that idea, I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, how am I gonna make money, with t-shirts? But it felt so right, and I lost everything, so I went for it. And so that has birthed this beautiful movement for me, that it is my business, but it's really evolved into my calling. I really feel that I'm being called to help other women, especially introverted women, to own their quiet voice and their fierce power to build brands and make a big impact. And I use my poetic goods, my poetic teas, as a catalyst to help women tap into their inner beauty and their spirit, and then express that power and that beauty from the inside out. So I just want to give you a little background about me, just in case you don't know me. But today I'm really excited because over the past 8 years, since that happened, I featured hundreds of people in my Dawning Soul blog, and Jen actually inspired this video interview series, because I really want to go deeper with people I featured and hear from them firsthand, what inspires them, and how do they feel confident from the inside out, and what is their take on inner beauty, and just, to me, showing the dimension of women. And especially now, I feel like it's more than ever, it's time for us to really embrace our power and really allow ourselves to step forward and share who we are, because that's an act of service, right? So without further ado, I want to introduce my good friend, Jen Turrell. Hi, Jen.
Hi, Jennifer. How's it going?
Good. I'm so happy and honored that you are here, and you are the first one that I'll be interviewing. Yay.
And I'm sporting one of your tees right
yes.
now.
Oh, yeah. See? She's got the one shoulder on, and then I got
Woohoo.
one. So, yeah, I'm going to share the poem so y'all can feel the vibe of what we're wearing today. But Jen, would you like to introduce yourself? Tell our viewers a little bit more about yourself.
Sure. So at the moment, my main focuses are, I'm a podcast host. I host the Financial Fluency podcast, which Jennifer Gabiola has been a guest on. And I also host another podcast with two of my friends, Lisa Carpenter and Lisa Sharp. And that is the All the Stuff podcast, which is where I wore this shirt on an episode. And we put it out not only on iTunes, but also through our YouTube channel, so people can see what we are talking about and wearing. Part of the reason for that was having two Lisas on the show can get a bit confusing. Mm-hmm. But I've discovered I really like doing video too, because I feel like when people record videos, hearing voice in your ear is great, but also seeing people's facial expressions and just more nuanced things. You can feel more of a connection, I feel like. So I'm really enjoying video right now, and I'm so excited that you're doing this as a video, as well as the photos that you were doing on your blog before. Yeah. So that's two of the main things I do are podcast hosting. I am also working on a book right now. One of my goals for 2017 is to finally be a real author. I have co-authored one book about helping parents of children with autism. I have 2 kids who are diagnosed with autism. And I'm working on helping other people with their books right now as well, doing some helping with promotion. I'm kind of learning all I can right now about books and selling books, because that's always been one of my passions. on the side of that, I used to also offer one-on-one services through as a financial personal trainer. At the moment, I'm not doing one-on-one services, but I am going to relaunch my group program at some point in 2017. So that's pretty much what I do. I try to help women with the finances kind of in early stages of working for themselves. It's often I'm an intermediary step between them going from not having a lot of financial planning to hiring professionals at some point, your CPA, your CFP, things like that, if you need them. I started out doing that with other autism moms and kind of expanded into entrepreneurs as I went along.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Well, I'm really honored that you're here, and I love seeing you evolve. And I think that's the maybe why I feel inspired to do this interview series now, is just to like revisit, because I loved sharing your incredible feature. I think it was last year. This like, especially the one with you in the yellow IMT. It was so beautiful. So I love hearing how you and your brand are evolving. So love it. Okay. So I have a few questions for you so we can kick this off. So like I mentioned, I really believe that beauty and style are really can be a catalyst for you to tune into your inner spirit and express that power from the inside out. So I think before we dive into the questions, I'd love to share my I am poem with everyone so they can see like, what these words are all about. And then I'd love to hear from you, like how those words like really resonate with you.
Okay.
So, here we go. This is actually, I wrote this many, many years ago. And I remember when I write poetry, I don't think about it. It just comes like through me, almost like water. And I remember after I wrote this, I was like, what? Where did this come from? But it's become this like, almost like a mantra, for people. It's the most like popular poem. I feel like people can see themselves in the words. So I really hope for those of you watching that you resonate with these words and that you find yourself in these words. Okay. I am flourishing. I am thriving. I am expanding. I am advancing. I am here nor there. I am everywhere, pervading, sustaining, my thoughts formulating into an infinite state of my own creating. Yay! So thank you. So Jen, when I sent you your poetic tea, and then when you did the photo shoot and your feature, what would you say like resonated with you with like that my poem, but also just the spirit behind like being featured? I'd love to hear just like your thoughts behind it.
Sure. Well, a couple interesting things that came up right away was when I got the yellow tea from you and I put it in my closet, I realized it was the only piece of yellow clothing that I owned. That I had nothing else yellow. And it kind of made me think about the colors that I have. I've tried doing some different organizational things, and sometimes they have you arrange your clothes by color. And I realized that I've been very muted for a lot of my life. And, I have a lot of sort of navy blues, light blues, grays, blacks, some purples, but it's all sort of very dark and muted tones. And I think some of that is actually from my childhood. I was in a domestic violence and abusive situation for about 12 years of my childhood. And I did eventually go through a criminal trial where I testified as a victim witness and put my abuser in jail when I was in college. And that was a really big thing. It took 3 years, the trial did. So I ended up flying back and forth from college back to Arizona to go through that. And I feel like some of the effects of spending so much time in a situation where I felt very repressed and controlled and frightened most of the time, really caused me to contract into myself and to always try to not be seen and not stand out and I didn't want to attract attention for a lot of my life, just because having that attention, especially from a much older man in my sort of formative years, was so negative, had such negative effects on me.
Right.
And I think that is some of my feelings of being an introverted person. You and I talked a lot about your quiet voice, big impact, and being introverted. And I sometimes wonder if I'm naturally introverted, because I have the ability, especially if I'm really excited about something one of my friends is doing, I can shout it out to the whole world, no problem. But for myself, it's always been difficult.
Mhm.
It's kind of funny that I ended up in punk, indie, and riot girl bands in college. So I really liked playing in these bands, but it was such a closed community, and it was tiny shows, usually house shows in someone's basement or in someone's living room. And it was kind of us girls shouting to each other about all the stuff that made us angry on the outside. So, yeah, I feel like my natural feeling about my looks was often to try to mute it down and blend in.
Mhm.
And then my rebellion against that was shaving my head and dyeing my hair crazy colors. So I feel like now that I'm in my 40s, I've kind of settled into, and a mother, I've settled into a middle ground where I'm no longer hiding, but I no longer feel the need to be, pillar box red or green or blue hair. And I feel like this now is a much more natural statement of who I feel like I am.
Yeah.
Having worked through a lot of the abuse issues and, kind of learning what I think is the natural feeling for me as a woman.
Yeah, well, I love that first of all, thank you for sharing that story. That's, to me, I feel honored that you share that, because it gives other women perspective that you can go through something like that, and then to see you now, how you are so comfortable in your skin. I mean, that's really huge. So I love that you are demonstrating that and showing an example of like a beautiful woman who's tapped into her power and her grace, and transformed something that was very, challenging is not even the word, but something just that's so could be very devastating to someone, and you transformed that. So to me, that really shows a testament to your character and your spirit,
Well, if we think about it statistically, how many women do experience some kind of sexual violence at some point in their life? It's 1 in 3. So most of us know somebody who has gone through it and come out the other side. There are girls who don't. There are girls who don't make it. And I remember when I was younger, it is so isolating. I felt so completely alone. And I remember 2 really important moments. One was a book that I found in the library, and it was called Give Me an H, Give Me an E, Give Me an L, Give Me a P. And it was about a cheerleader who had a domestic violence situation at home and hid it. Was always trying to hide it from everyone. And that just spoke to me so much. And the other was an Ani DeFranco song. When I got to college, I actually don't even remember the title of the song, but there was this line in it that said, I was 11 years old, he was as old as my dad, and he took something from me I didn't even know I had. And just hearing someone else that was out of the situation, that had made it out, speak about it was so important to me. So for a long time, I didn't talk about it openly or publicly, but in the last year, I've started to more and more, mainly for that reason, just to think, if somebody hears this who is in a situation and feels like there's no way out, there's a way out and you can get past it. I kind of would like, if I could inspire someone the way those 2 things inspired me to keep going and not give up, and know that I had no idea what life after my situation would look like, because it was religious as well. We were in a really interesting kind of cult-like religion, and it felt like every aspect of my mind and body was kind of all subsumed in this. And getting out was incredible. Going to college, really, I went to Bryn Mawr, a women's college, and it was when we did Take Back the Night, which was for women who had been raped, and discovering all the other women who I thought were so brilliant and creative and amazing, realizing how many of them had been through it too, was so powerful for me. I mean, that was really what started the impetus to start the criminal trial, was meeting other women who had done it. And I think we women got to stick together.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I wanted to feature you, because I could sense that strength in you. And I love how you shared in your story that you went from feeling muted to feeling like more comfortable in your skin. Because I remember when I sent you this shirt, the one you're wearing, you're like, I don't know, should I wear it with a bra? I'm not really used to wearing it, showing my shoulder. And I feel like I can tell, like, with your energy and your spirit now, that you are embracing like what you wear feels more like in alignment with how you're feeling, like the more of that self-love and self-acceptance and grace that you've acknowledged for yourself, right?
Yeah. Well, an interesting thing about this shirt at this time in my life too is being a mother changed a lot of things for me. It changed my body significantly. And I have not, before having kids, I never paid much attention to what I ate or my weight. And it was all just, it was fine. And since then, you know, I've definitely changed some. And I'm not obsessed with my weight or anything, but I really don't show as much skin as I maybe did in my punk rock. Well, even then, to be honest, I remember I was talking with a coach at one point about her wanting me to find a picture where I was my ideal weight and see what my body looked like. And I went back, even through band photos, I almost always had something in front of my body. Like I always had a bass guitar, or I had a big, you know, crossbody bag. And in all the photos, I have a, you know, big coat or something, and I was always even then covering my body. Yeah. So as much as I tried to rebel with my hair and all of that, I still felt very, very protective about my body. And I couldn't find a photo in a bathing suit or in, you know, something that really showed what my body looked like back then. Yeah. Which is kind of a shame, because I was like, you know what, I actually had a really great body back then. And now it's a lot harder work. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But I do feel comfortable with this. And the show that you were talking about, where we did a whole show actually on shame, on all the stuff. And I was wearing this top on it. And I talked about how when I got it, I put it on and I showed my husband, and he was like, oh, it's cute, you know. And then I went to take my dogs for a walk, and he went, are you going to wear that? And I had this sudden moment of like, I'm 40 years old. This is kind of a young girl's disco top. Like, should I wear this out and about? What will the dogs think of me? What will the dog walkers think of me? You know, I had this moment of like worrying what other people think of me. And then I just wore it anyways and thought, what does it matter? You know, how much do I care what anyone else wears? And I rocked it and I felt good in it. I did my dog work.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's what matters. And like, that's the whole like reason I feel like I was guided to create these poetic goods, as I call them, is because to me, to see how you embrace like your body and your spirit and your inner beauty, and you walk the dog in this top, and like to me I can envision you like walking the dog, like to see you like owning it like that, like to me that's everything. That gives me joy and like a sense of purpose. Like, yes, I see why I was divinely guided to this idea, because this is what it's about. Like beauty and style. I think in our society, it's projected as something that's like a luxury or something that's extra. But I really feel like, especially with my story, if I, you know, style and beauty was my way of remembering who I was on the inside, and then giving myself permission to express my voice. You know, so I love, you know, hearing like women like you share that story where it's like you're giving yourself permission to show up. That's what matters, you know, especially like with your past and how far you've come. It's just like, it's really such a beautiful testament to you to see like how you're embracing all of you, you know?
And you know, something interesting I did in the last year, I really loved reading that KonMari, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. And when I did that, I'll admit I did not manage to do it with my entire house, but I did my closet. Mm-hmm. And there was a huge change. So the thing that stuck with me from that book out of everything was holding each object in your hand and seeing if it brings you joy. Like, this is a little cat. I have had this for more than a decade. A girl gave this to me in Japan when we were on tour once. And this gives me a lot of joy, this little cat for some reason. So obviously I kept it. But when I did that in my closet, getting rid of all the clothes that I didn't like and that didn't give me joy, it made a total difference on what I wear on a daily basis. Because I work from home.
Yes.
And I leave the house every day to pick up and drop off my kids, and I take them to speech therapy or OT or PT. And so I do go out, but I often would, if I was just working at home, I'd put on, you know, the grubs. I'd put on the old, close to my computer, and I'd be typing, and I'd probably be comfy and cozy because I was wearing like sweatpants or pajama bottoms, sometimes even. But when I got rid of all that stuff and wore the things I actually like every day, like even if I wasn't going out, I put on, a nice sweater that has the leather arms, and I felt like I looked pretty good. It really made a difference with
Yes, it does.
what I did that day and how I handled things. And yeah, I really like that. Though the one thing that now frustrates me is that sweater that I love. It's Ted. Who's that English designer? It's Ted something. It's a really nice sweater. I love it, but it's all balled up now because I wear it so much.
Oh, yeah.
But it made me realize, but that's fine. I'm actually using it. Whereas before I would save my favorite things.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
What was I saving it for?
Right.
The couple times a year I go to see people in other cities, because my city's so casual. Flagstaff, there's this joke where dressing up in Flagstaff means putting on a belt. Like the nicest restaurant you could go to does not have any kind of dress code here. So it's totally for me if I put on something nice.
I love that. Yes. So that's what we want to share. That's one of the highlights we want to share on this interview today, is that your style is meant to be something sacred. Just like what Jen said, like the stuff that you feel like is like extra special is extra special for you, whether other people see it or not. It's just, don't save it for like something like maybe it's like she said, once a year, twice a year. Give yourself permission to express it and enjoy what you genuinely enjoy, with your style. And the whole thing, all of this is about giving yourself permission to express yourself from the inside out. So thank you for sharing all of that. That was really beautiful.
Can I bring one more thing up that is a fashion-related thing that was so interesting? So yesterday was February 1st, and my friend Yasmin Inal posted on her Facebook that it was International Hijab Day, and they were asking non-Muslim women to put the hijab on just for solidarity. And I only have a few scarves. I'm not a huge scarf person, but I have this DVF scarf that I love that has a really nice pattern. And I was trying to figure out how to do it. And I did post a photo online, and it was so interesting seeing the comments about it, about the difference in covering up your hair and what that looks like. And to me, I was thinking, those old Hollywood movies where the woman gets into a convertible car, so she completely covers her hair and puts on sunglasses, right? So to me, a scarf can mean anything, but it was so interesting just within that context of completely covering my hair and posting a photo, just the different things people thought and said about it. And I know for Muslim women, it does have such a significance, and that was the purpose, was to say, any woman can wear whatever she wants, and she should not be shamed or threatened or humiliated.
Yes.
For anything. There's no reason to give anyone a hard time about what they wear, whether it's religious or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought I'd share that too, because it was an interesting experience doing that. And then I had, I think I had maybe like 50 comments about.
Were they positive?
Mostly they were. Some were questioning. I know there was one woman who posted something about how interesting it is to see women who don't usually wear it, and that she wished that other women were allowed to not wear it so she could see what their hair looked like. And Yasmin's comment was she hadn't been brought up wearing it, and she chose when she was in college to start wearing it, and her family was actually concerned, being here in the US, that it might make things difficult for her to wear it. But that was absolutely her own choice, it was not forced on her in any way. Even her father was concerned that maybe she shouldn't, that it might make life harder, but it was a commitment that she made. So yeah, so it was an interesting discussion going back and forth about
I love that. That was a beautiful act of solidarity on your part.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So my second question is, we touched on it a few minutes ago, but I know that we had talked previously that you consider yourself more of an ambivert than an introvert, but an introvert, just for those of you who don't know, introvert just means you need quiet time to recharge, right? And an ambivert is just someone that kind of rides the middle, where you need quiet time, but you also enjoy being around people. You also get energy by being around people. So Jen, like as an introvert / ambivert, how do you find ways to like honor your quiet voice to make like a positive impact? How do you find ways to just express yourself in and share like your value with the world without feeling like you have to change who you are?
Well, I think writing is one way that I like to do it, because that's something that I do best in quiet and alone. There are times when I end up trying to do it with my kids around me and lots of things going on, if there are deadlines or things. But I've always written. I remember I was in second grade when the first poem I ever wrote got put into a little book. It was called Secrets, because my school was called Secrest at the time. And it was a little poem I'd written about a tree. And I was seeing it in print, actually printed in the school, the teeny tiny little Xerox thing. But it was so exciting and I was hooked. And I got so much praise for it that I was like, I'm a writer. So since second grade, I've been calling myself a writer. And I've always written poetry and journaled, and I've started a couple of novels and not finished. So that's something that is really important to me. And this year I realized that I want to focus on it a lot more, on writing. But part of the introvert-extrovert thing, I realized with having kids, both of my kids are super touchy people. Like I was reading this book called The 5 Love Languages of Children recently, and I realized one of them is such a touch love language. And it's my older daughter who is significantly affected by autism and has a lot of communication difficulties. And I know there have been times, especially when I was nursing one and the other was a toddler, when there were moments where I just felt like I had been touched so much that I would go and be like, I just need some time, and I would lock myself in the bathroom and just be like, I need to have a little, like 15 minutes where nobody touches me.
Right.
Especially because we co-slept and there was a lot of time where at least one child was pretty much always in physical contact with me. Either I was wearing them or carrying them or, something. And that kind of made me realize I am someone who needs time and quiet.
Yes.
Just away.
Yeah.
Getting this office in my house has been a really important thing for me, because this really is the only room that's just mine, and I close the door and no one else has anything that's theirs in here.
Yeah.
That's been really important.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Like as an introvert, like quiet time is not just like an escape. It's really a time. It's a sacred time for you to recharge your energy. Yeah. I love that.
I have a little chair set up here. That's my little chair for reading by that light. And then I have a guitar over there in case I want it. And I have my books and I have my closet of things that I need. So a lot of they call it my hole. Stu will be like, are you going down to your hole? And I'm like, yes, I'm going down to my hole now.
So ladies and men watching this, definitely give yourself permission to give yourself quiet time every day. And I love your tip, Jen, to like as an introvert or ambivert, like you don't have to, there's many ways to communicate your voice. So if writing gives you joy, like you can, I've seen so many like powerful like movements happen when someone just writes. Like I follow people's posts, and it's just the way they use language is like that. Sometimes the written word comes across even more powerfully than watching somebody. It just depends on like how you communicate. So give yourself permission to express yourself in whatever way feels like really resonant with you. Because people, if you're feeling it, like if you're writing, people will feel that in your words. If video is what you really resonate with, they'll feel that too. But you always have to feel like deeply grounded in yourself. That's why quiet time is so important, right?
Mm-hmm. And I do like doing my podcast. I mean, that's something that I feel if it weren't for technology, if we couldn't do these kind of conversations across vast distances, I would never have discovered how much I like that. Because I feel like I'm having a private, intimate conversation with you right now, but then we're able to share it with a lot of people.
Yeah. Love it. I love that too.
It's great for introverts.
Totally, because I was going to say, like, as introverts, we love deep connection. We love intimacy. So this does allow, it feels like it's one girlfriend talking with another, but yet later we can share it and other people can benefit from it, right? Mm-hmm. Love it. Okay, so my last question is, what advice do you have to help women feel more beautiful from the inside out, to feel more comfortable in their skin, so that they really embrace like the idea of showing up and, you know, expressing like who they are?
Mm-hmm. Well, one thing that's helped me a lot is having someone at some point, I can't even remember who it was, ask me if I would say the things that I say to myself inside of my head out loud to my children. Like, would I ever
Oh,
say
wow.
to them? And there definitely was a time, I mean, I used to be really, really hard on myself. And I think coming out of the abusive situation I was in, where I was told unpleasant things about myself a lot to kind of keep me down and under control, I developed a voice in my head that would tell me things that I was not good enough, that I was not smart enough, that I was not pretty enough, that I was not, you know, all those things that the mean voice in our head wants to say.
Yeah.
And thinking about, would I say that to my kids? And then also thinking about myself as that child. And,
Yes.
you know, this is something they do sometimes in therapy or in, you know, meditation or coaching, where you go back and talk to yourself as a child. And I've done that a couple of times and thought about who she was and how similar she is to my daughters right now. Especially when with my oldest, she was going through so much medical stuff at the age when my abuse started that it wasn't as much on my mind. With my youngest, when she turned 5, she's a lot like I was. She's a younger sister, and she ends up looking after her older sister, who has more difficulties a lot. And I was a younger sister to an older sister who had to have surgery as a teenager. She had major spinal surgery at a time when that was much more difficult than, I mean, it's never easy to have spinal surgery, but now that, you know, they use lasers and there are all these ways to be less invasive. So I was a caretaker at a very young age, both for my sister and my stepfather, who had a lot of surgeries. And I can see myself so much in my youngest daughter that's really helped me shift it. It's like thinking of myself. Like, I want my daughter to grow up hearing wonderful things about herself and thinking of herself as able to do anything, and so creative. She's just amazing. And yeah, that's helped a lot. It's really shifted how I think and feel about myself. I say much nicer things to myself now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this is perfect, because that's actually something I've been working on for the past few years, but especially this year, is that like my word of the year this year is reinvention. And it's just this shift of that inner dialogue from that inner bully, that inner critic, to this, instead of that like push and just this bullying to motivate you, more to this encouraging, loving voice. Like, it's okay. You can move forward. You can progress. Being kind to yourself and being loving to yourself. So I totally agree that I think is the foundation of self-confidence and tapping into your own inner beauty and power, is your relationship to yourself. You know, trusting that how you're naturally built, even beyond being introvert, extrovert, ambivert, like how you're naturally built, like, is on purpose, and to trust that and to embrace that. And you're meant to be different. You're meant to like stand out. You're meant to embrace all the quirks and everything that makes you unique, because that's really, you're not born on this planet to just blend in, you know, even though our society wants us to kind of like everyone kind of be similar. But I really feel like when we can be brave and courageous and step out, embracing like our truth and being unapologetic about that, I feel like that's when like you feel most free. And then the right people will gravitate towards you. The right opportunities will gravitate towards you, because you are feeling yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah. Oh, I love this conversation. So would you like to share what you're working on as far as like your podcast, if you want to share your link, or any other, your book, anything you'd like to share about that for those of our viewers who want to know more about you?
Sure. Well, is it okay if I share something I'm helping someone else with right now?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So in trying to learn how to sell books, a friend of mine who is an amazing woman herself, her name's Amanda Steinberg, and she's the founder and CEO of Daily Worth and Worth FM, which are two companies that I love. I wrote for Daily Worth for quite a while. I have a profile there, and it's really, the whole company, it's a financial media company, but it's focused on the way that women talk about money, feel about money, the conversations that we have about our careers, our past. Money is such a huge representation of value in our culture. I mean, this is how we value things. So I do think that that's really why I focus on women and money, not just because I care so much about material goods or financial things, but it's something that's really held us back
Yes.
a lot historically as women. For a long time, we couldn't have our own credit cards. We couldn't have our own bank accounts. We used to not be able to inherit. Money went to men, all those sorts of things. So my friend Amanda has written her first book. It's called Worth It. This is an advanced copy that I have. And I have been helping her promote it and helping her out with the book club that goes along with it for people who pre-order. It's coming out February 7th, so it's coming very soon. But as you can see, I'm tabbing it up with all the little quotes I want to share and stuff. I really love this book. And what I love about it is Amanda is much more like me than most people who write financial books. She did not come from a super rich family. She did not go to school for finance. She was a computer programmer. She's had a couple startups and then she looked around and realized, I make a lot of money and I don't know where it goes. Like, why don't I have any money left?
Right.
And she kind of did all the things you think you're supposed to do: go to a good college, marry a nice man, have kids, and then buy a big fancy home to show how successful you are.
Right.
The home, all these things that she loved, both her first startup company and her big home and big lifestyle were pushing her into debt. And so she really had to stop and take a serious look at what was valuable in her life, what made a difference, and what was taking her where she wanted to go in the end. So I think it's a really great conversation for women to have. Money is still such a source of emotional difficulty for a lot of us. I mean, it's not just something that you can follow a checklist and fix in your life, because for so many of us, it is connected to our self-worth and how we feel and treat ourselves. Our money can be a reflection of that. So that book is fantastic. Also, if you want to check out my podcast, there's Financial Fluency and All the Stuff are the two podcasts that I do. And I would love to see you in any of the Facebook groups that are connected to those podcasts, if anyone wants to join me there.
Love it. And do you have a website or email just in case people want to reach out to you directly?
Sure. I do have a website. It's jenturrell.com. We're about to redo it because the website's really focused on the financial personal training aspect. And this last year doing podcasts, I realized how much I love doing this sort of online media stuff, having these conversations, sharing it with people. So we're focusing it more on sort of a media website now to show my podcasts. I'm going to be launching one more new podcast. We'll take a little break from Financial Fluency in 2017. And I'm starting another one called Business Buddies. We Are Here to Make Friends with my friend Neve Arthur. And it's really just about women supporting women and helping each other and what really makes a difference in our lives. And a lot of it also is taking these back-burnered creative projects like my novels and figuring out how to put them into our lives right now, whether they are a source of income or not, because today is all we have of life, really. And so many people unexpectedly don't get to those things they always thought they would get to someday. So I think it's really important when we work them into our lives right now, the things that bring us the most happiness.
Yes, and defining value for ourselves. I love that you brought that up about like in our culture, money is just such a prominent thing. Like if, an idea is only valuable, is it going to make you money? And I feel like that's really not the standard. It's like, does it give you joy? Does it give you a sense of like meaning in your life? And if it makes you money, cool, but that's not the driving force. Like what gives you that sense of fulfillment is the driving force, right?
Mm-hmm. But also the idea that art can't make you money, that you have to be poor if you're an artist. Yeah. I want to challenge that too. Yeah. So that's part of what I'm working on. The books that I want to self-publish for myself are fiction and poetry, things that I have backburnered because they didn't seem profitable. So that's part of my experiment is, can I figure out ways to support my family and our future and what we need with some of these things that make me feel fulfilled and happy?
Yes, love that. Well, thank you, Jen, for sharing so much. I mean, I really, you took us from like your past, but also like, how you see like your value and self-worth now. It's just, I love to see how you've evolved since like I first featured you. It's really, really beautiful to witness.
Thank you, Jennifer. And it's great watching all the things that you do too, and being in your group. I love the Quiet Voice, Big Impact group.
Thank you.
Wonderful place.
Thank you. For those of you that would like to connect with me more, just like Jen said, I do have a free Facebook group called Quiet Voice Big Impact Community. And if you want to learn more about me, you can visit me at dawningsoul.com or email me at info@dawningsoul.com. I have lots of support from branding, design, but I really, I love helping other quiet leaders because I really believe in my heart you can be quiet and you can be fierce. That doesn't mean loud. That means just having that deep conviction in yourself and then embracing that like from the inside out. So thank you so much, Jen, for being here. I can't wait to share your interview. Thank you for being the first one and for inspiring this whole series. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Jennifer.
Bye.